First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rokah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you, Akwat, that believe in all sincerity. Not too sure what I'm entitled this video, but basically, it's going to be a little exhortation to endure, okay, what we are currently experiencing, okay, and don't lose your crown, don't lose what you already have attained, okay, and that's the lessons, because everything that we're going through, experiencing, is definitely a lesson. It's definitely a trial of your faith. It's definitely for your betterment, and that's how you have to see things, okay. You have to definitely see things that all things will work to the good for those who are basically called and chosen, okay. So this is something that I had on my spirit as I woke up this morning. Okay, this is James 1 and 12. It says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation." And when you look up this word temptation, it means anything that would make you lapse from the faith.
Strong's G 3986, Pyrosmas. Pyrosmas.
Let's get this right here. Of the condition of things or a mental state by which we are enticed to sin or to lapse from the faith and holiness. Okay, that's what temptation is. The condition, whether mentally or externally, which entices you to sin and that'll make you lapse from the faith and holiness. That's what temptation is. Okay, it can be right here. What does it say? Internal temptation to sin. Okay. The trial of man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, constancy. Yeah. Because when you're tempted, best believe your faith, your integrity, your virtue, how diligent you are, is going to be put to the test. It's going to be made known. Whether you have integrity, faith, or you got virtue. Okay, up here at the beginning, I like to jump around a little bit sometimes on these definitions. An experiment, attempt, trial, proving the trial proving the trial made of you by my bodily conditions, since conditions serve to test the love of the Galatians towards Paul. So you basically, you get it, all right. It's an enticement to sin, whether by external or internal circumstances, you see. And Satan is as a roaring lion, seeketh whom he may devour. So blessed is the man that endureth the temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Okay. So when you're proved, when you're put on the trial, when you're tempted, okay, and you endure that temptation, okay, the Lord said that he would, give us a crown of life. And see, that's what, being in the ministry is all about, is overcoming the world, overcoming the flesh, overcoming ourselves, whether internal or external. All right. So we can get a reward. You see, it's like it is going through the fire. It is going through different circumstances that you may not even want to go through, but you have to endure the temptations. You see, and some temptations are greater than others. Some temptations, how could I say this? Let me say it like this. Some errors are also greater than others. Some mistakes, because you may fail, all right? But, we're not to fail in a way where we, throw away everything that we've received already. Where, you don't want to go back to square one, is what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. Look at how much you've put into this truth. How much, a sacrifice, You don't want to put yourself in a position where, you basically throw it all away for whatever circumstance, whoever, whomever. That's the point of this lesson, you know. So blessed is the man that endured temptation. This is Luke 8:18, right? Take heed, therefore, how ye hear, right? Because the scriptures say, be not a hearer only, deceiving yourself, but being a doer. So take heed, therefore, how ye hear. Okay? We got to make sure that we're truly listening and we're truly doing, Pray to the Lord to put the Spirit on us to actually be about this constantly. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. Right? If you have faith, it'll be given more. If you have integrity, if it'll definitely be given more. If what does the scripture say? Ask. If any man lacketh wisdom, ask, and it shall be given to him, but not wavering. We can't waver in this thing. We cannot believe, or I should say, we cannot not believe that we're not going to receive what we ask for. And it's best to ask for spiritual gifts, all right, to prophesy, because the Lord said, what? All these other things shall come to you. We'll put the kingdom of heaven first. Put the Lord first, and all these other material things, they'll find its way into your life. Okay? The Lord blesses us. He knows what we need, and every now and then he likes to give us extra. That's of a truth. So I'm going to read this again. Take heed, therefore, how ye hear. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. And whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he seemeth to have. Yeah. So if you don't really have faith, if you don't really have integrity, it's going to be taken from you. Okay? Even though it seemed you may have it all together, it's going to be taken from you. I'm reminded of the parable of the talents. The servant that went and hid his talent in a napkin, it was taken from him. And the scriptures say, what? You wicked and slothful servant. Even that which he seemed to have got taken from him, and it was given to who? To another man. Okay? And he had more talents. See, the Lord is all about, producing. It's about growth. We have to grow in life, okay, and in this ministry, because we have the ministry to prosper in life. That's of a truth, okay? So, it's not about going backwards. It's not about losing our position. It's like, when you play a video game and you get to a certain level and it gets hard, right? But when you beat the level, what do? You put it on, you save that, your progress, you save it. So when you turn the game on again, you you can continue from that point forward. You don't want to not save it and lose everything that you have, that you have won. Same thing in this truth. We want to go from glory to glory. We want to go from understanding to understanding and grow. It truly is. I'm seeing lately, that it's about mastering things. Scriptures say, strive for the masteries. There's certain things that we can't be falling to anymore. There's certain situations, certain obstacles, certain trials, tribulations. There's certain just certain things that we just can't be, as brothers say, getting hit with the same punch. Here it is, you in a fight, and your opponent has just one right hand. One right-handed haymaker, and he keeps hitting you with the same haymaker over and over. No defense, no offense, no footwork, no. You don't have no skill on him, but he just hitting you with the same punch. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like that. We want to be able to slip, to parry, duck, dodge, weave, move, work angles, get out the way of certain things, So hopefully that made sense. But yeah, from him shall be taken even that which he seemeth to have. Even, you may seem to have it together, but the Lord is one to, like, put that fire to you, and you'll suffer loss. You know, you'll suffer loss. Okay, and you may not recuperate from that loss, because the Lord puts the fire to try a work, to try an individual. What kind is it? Is it precious metal, or is it wood, hay, stubble, which easily is consumed? You don't want to be easily consumed. Apostles always say, the individuals run this race, run 10, 15, 20 years only to fall out and we're at the end. And we always say that. You always got to believe that. You always got to believe we're at the end. You can't ever say, not well, it's not here. You always got to believe, because we don't really know. But the signs are here. The signs are all here that we're very much approaching, okay, Jacob's trouble, you know. And you don't want to lose before the fight. Here it is, Jacob's trouble coming, and you already tapped out. No, no, we gotta, gird up and prepare to even to go through that last battle, the final fight. You know, this is a Revelation 3:11. We'll start at 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So, we have to keep this word, okay? And in this, the scriptures say, in your patience possess ye your souls. It says you're sojourning through this walk, through this truth. You're reading these words, you're reading these stories, these parables, these deep sayings. You're getting the wisdom of the scriptures. You must understand that, all this is written for our learning, for us to overcome. Okay? We are definitely in a battle. You see? So we have to be patient in battle. When you're in the trenches, reading the scriptures, figuratively in the trenches, reading these scriptures, having patience that, bullets is flying, shrapnel everywhere, dudes are stepping in landmines, passing out, getting sniped all around you. It's just hell. Keep the word of my patience. Keep this word. Be patient in the trials and tribulations, the sufferings, the temptations. I says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So the Lord is he's one to come through. The scriptures say he's a present help in time of trouble. It says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So it's coming. A temptation is coming. You see, greater than any temptation that we've ever been tempted with. You don't want to fall out beforehand. You don't want to run, okay, and fall out at the last minute. And I speak first and foremost. This is something that's been on my spirit. I've been thinking about this. We can't lose what we already have. We can't slow down, especially with, you catching hell, you going through things, and sometimes you just like need to refresh, take a step back. But at the same time, you gotta get back to work. We gotta get back to work. And work is doing this work, teaching this truth, storing up riches in heaven, so the Lord can come through for us. It says here, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Okay? Hold that fast which thou hast. And what is that? The truth. The truth of the Bible. The truth. Okay? Of the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We hold the truth of this world. What's really going on. Okay? The characters. Okay? The prophecy. The history. Okay? Yeah, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Don't let nobody take your crown. What does it say in Romans 8? Paul said that he is convinced, okay, that nothing can separate us from the love of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're part of that elect. We got to keep that in mind. Hold fast to this truth. Forget this world. Forget about the things and the people that are in it. It's going to perish. You see? But what's going to stand the test of time is he that doeth the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because the world passeth away, and the things thereof. Okay? Hold that fast which thou hast, and no man take that crown, that no man take that reward. Don't let no one take your reward. Don't let no one take you out of the race to win the prize. No one, no thing. You don't want to, as I mentioned, you don't want to lose what you've already gained. If that makes sense. This is 2 John. And 2 John 1:8. Look to yourselves that we lose not those things which we have wrought. You see? Look to yourself. Examine thyself. Look to yourselves that we lose not those things which we have wrought, but that we receive a full reward. You see, you don't want to lose the things which you have already wrought, the things that you have already accomplished, the levels that you've obtained. All right? And this is speaking first and foremost to myself. Something that, through the spirit that I'm looking at. You might lose certain things, but hey, you still got to go forward. You still got to move forward. You can't just stop. The world don't stop. The truth don't stop. It doesn't. It just keeps going and going. So I just wanted to bring this out. Just a morning exhortation. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rokak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you, Aqua, to believe in all sincerity. Shalom.